In every great story, behind the triumph of the hero and the wisdom of the king, there is a hidden figure, the one who whispers secrets, reveals deeper truths, and works in silence while others act in noise. He is the seer, the sage, the alchemist. He is the magician. The magician archetype is not about cheap tricks or illusion, it is about transformation. Deep, inner, irreversible transformation. He is the one who unlocks doors to hidden realms, the master of symbols, rituals, and secret knowledge. He is the one who sees beyond appearances, who understands that life is not what it seems on the surface. The magician exists across cultures and centuries. He is Merlin guiding Arthur. He is Hermes, the messenger between gods and mortals. He is Thoth in Egypt, Odin in the Norse myths, the shaman in tribal societies, the priest, the philosopher, the mystic, and even the modern-day therapist, scientist, or mentor. Wherever there is hidden knowledge, deep insight, or sacred teachings, there is the magician. But just like all powerful archetypes, the magician has both light and shadow. He can heal or deceive. He can initiate or manipulate. He can reveal or conceal. Let's begin with the light side, the mature, integrated magician. The mature magician is the inner teacher, the sacred guide, the awakener. He serves not himself, but the greater whole. He seeks knowledge not to dominate, but to liberate. He understands that real power comes from alignment, with truth with the soul, with the rhythms of life. The mature magician is emotionally detached, not because he is cold, but because he has learned to observe without reacting. He can hold space for transformation. He sees through illusion, not only in the world, but within himself. He doesn't flinch at darkness. He knows that descent into the unconscious is a necessary part of becoming whole. In his presence, people don't just feel heard. They feel seen, truly seen. The mature magician doesn't lecture. He asks questions. He doesn't impose. He invites. He doesn't control. He guides. He knows that real transformation cannot be forced. It must be chosen. And most of all, he understands that his knowledge is not his own. It was passed to him often through suffering, through solitude, through long nights of silence and uncertainty. He knows the cost of wisdom, and he knows that to whom much is given, much is required. But there is another side, the dark side, the shadow magician. The shadow magician is the manipulator, the deceiver, the trickster in his most destructive form. He uses knowledge not to heal, but to control. He hides behind complexity to maintain power. He pretends to serve others while secretly feeding his own ego. Where the mature magician invites initiation, the shadow magician creates dependency. He withholds information, drip-feeding insight to keep others hooked. He masks dominance as guidance. He uses charisma to seduce. He creates confusion so that others rely on him. We see him in the corrupt guru who exploits his followers, the therapist who plays mind games, the intellectual who shames others for not knowing what he knows, the influencer who sells secret wisdom for a price while having no real substance behind the curtain. The shadow magician fears being exposed. He fears irrelevance, and so he cloaks himself in mystique, in jargon, in spiritual or intellectual superiority. He wants to appear powerful, but in truth he is hollow, because he has not done the real work. He has not descended. He has not integrated his own shadow. And so he plays with the shadows of others. The difference between the integrated and shadow magician is this. One seeks transformation, the other seeks control. One invites liberation, the other manufactures dependency. One leads you inward, the other pulls you outward toward him. But what gives rise to the shadow magician? Often it begins with wounds. The budding magician may have felt unseen, unheard, or powerless. And so he turns to knowledge as a refuge. He retreats into books, ideas, systems. He becomes clever, and being clever makes him feel safe. But cleverness without heart leads to arrogance, and knowledge without humility becomes poison. When the magician doesn't do his inner work, when he doesn't confront his own darkness, he begins to project it onto others. He uses his gifts not as a path of service, but as a shield from vulnerability. He becomes obsessed with control because he's terrified of his own chaos. This is why integration is so crucial. To become a mature magician, you must confront your own manipulation, your own intellectual superiority, your own tendency to withdraw, to hide behind knowledge, to use truth as a weapon. You must feel the pain that led you to seek refuge in the mind. You must descend into your own underworld, your jealousy, your shame, your insecurity, and you must bring those parts into the light, not to conquer them, but to include them. The magician's true power is not in being untouchable. It is in being whole. Integration means taking responsibility for your gifts. It means using your insight not to impress, but to uplift. It means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It means being willing to say, I don't know, to say I was wrong, to say I'm still learning. It also means protecting your energy. The magician knows that his insight is sacred, and sacred things must be guarded. He doesn't share everything with everyone. He chooses when and how to reveal, not from fear, but from discernment. He also creates sacred space, whether in therapy, teaching, art, or conversation. He knows that transformation requires a container, a boundary, a ritual frame. Without it, energy leaks. Without it, the sacred becomes profane. In today's world, the magician is often undervalued. We praise action, speed, execution, but the magician reminds us that real power comes from depth, from slowness, from insight that pierces illusion. We need the magician now more than ever. The real one, not the shadowy performer. We need mentors who guide without ego, healers who hold space without judgment, artists who channel the collective unconscious, thinkers who ask deeper questions. But to become this magician, you must walk the path of initiation. You must enter solitude, not to escape, but to listen. You must observe yourself, study your triggers, track your patterns, seek meaning. You must turn pain into wisdom, turn confusion into clarity, turn ego into humility. You must serve the process, not the product, the soul, not the market. And most of all, you must remember, you are not the source. You are a channel, a vessel, a steward. You are the space through which the sacred moves. When you mentor someone and hold back from giving easy answers, that is the magician. When you sit with your shadow instead of projecting it, that is the magician. When you create something that reveals truth, not just for you but for others, that is the magician. And when you feel tempted to perform, to manipulate, to control, and you choose instead to align with the deeper current, that is the magician matured. The The magician archetype is not about what you know, it's about how you hold what you know. It's about the posture of your soul in relation to truth. Do you serve it or do you use it? That's the question the magician always asks. And if you listen, really listen, he'll show you the path, not the easy path, but the necessary one, a path of depth, of silence, of shadow and light, of power and humility, of knowing and unknowing. He will strip away the false, he will burn away the ego, and from that fire something sacred will emerge. Something true, you. The magician lives within you, as potential, as path, as presence. When you are ready, he will awaken, and when he does, the world will never look the same, not because it changed, but because you did. You began to see beneath the surface, to hear the silence, to feel the patterns. You began to serve something greater, and that is the magician's gift. Not power, but presence. Not manipulation, but meaning. Not domination, but depth. This is the magician. This is you! If you're willing.